Alright. Alright, Murloc and Nina are just gonna... Murloc and Tatanka are just gonna go. Oh well. Okay, where is this person? Avaloo? Well, I'm gonna go watch this then. Alright, so let's see if we can catch up. We've got Squirrel, Pigeon, Falcon, Skunk, Raccoon, Wolf against Squirrel, Lizard, Pigeon, Skunk, Raccoon, Wolf. So, very similar. Just Lizard instead of Falcon for Murloc. Now, Murloc versus Tatanka. Most people lose to Tatanka pretty much automatically. Murloc is one of the few who can beat him, like, pretty consistently, actually, now. It's actually almost a 50-50 toss-up. I'm like a 1 in 3, a 40%, a 40-60 against him, probably. And I'm probably the next best, unless Sasha or Melvin comes out. But both players starting with Double raccoons. Going to be sending them out to outside their territory so they can start getting food. Raccoons get, I think it's about 1/6 of a farm's rate. So once you get 6 of them, you've got an extra farm, and that's what the tanker's going for. We seem to have caught up. Yep. Murloc comboing his with a heck of a lot of lizards. I do like lizards against raccoons. Raccoons, they're good all-rounders. They don't have an obvious weakness, but lizards are quite good at dealing with tier 2s in general. And they can really get in with raccoons' slow fire rate and spike them down quickly. But with the Warren tanking and the... that wasn't a good example of it. I think the Warren tanking really changed things there. Because all those lizards weren't actually hitting the stuff that was doing damage, so the tanker's DPS didn't get any lower until most of the lizards are dead. And that gives Tatanka a pretty sizable lead to start with. He's not only won that fight, he's got these extra raccoons. So he's getting more eco as well. Now, Murloc's raccoons are exposed. His commander dies, he's not able to pull them back, so that's another 120 food just gone. He's going to go in. I don't think this is going to work. I think this is a... yeah. This is a last... well, it wasn't really an all-in because there was no real chance of it winning. It was just sort of a chuck it at it and see what happens. I completely forgot I had to get this up. Oops, hope no one's... Okay, so we've got Squirrel Lizard Pro, Snake Boar Wolf against Squirrel Pigeon Mole, Skunk Snake Badger. And Murloc is putting his mole, he likes doing this, a bit of early game mole harassment just to get the sell on the farms. The tanker's smart though, he knows he doesn't need to sell that one. It's far enough away and with enough big shooting and built up enough that mole isn't going to be able to get there in time. Now Murloc isn't just selling, which is a bit risky. Okay, now he sells. I don't really think he's got much advantage out of that, because he didn't have his own farms the entire time. Okay. Here we go. Squirrels coming in. So I have some stuff to deal with. Oh, Tanker's getting massive value out of this lizard squirrel combo. 2 farms. A pretty decent army trade as well. Now, Murloc is getting skunks, which deal well with tier 1, but they're much worse against lizards, and they're much, much worse when there's 2 different types of tier 1. Simply because of the way the skunk targeting AI works. When you have 2 different types of units, you can split them up, and the skunk can't focus on one or the other. And the skunk really needs the units it's shooting to be clumped together for it to get max value, because it's an AoE unit. Now the way to deal with that is to just get more skunks, because the more skunks you have, the more area their gas covers. And once you get to about 4, they start getting to a point where the lizards doing their surround will still be hit no matter what. So I'm guessing that's why the tanker hasn't moved in. Murloc is caught up on eco. Like, the skunks, like, getting the tier 2 out delayed his army enough that the tanker had that timing to push in. But it has made him quite secure to hold in the future. The tanker getting these crows, flying units can't be hit by the skunk gas, so it's an obvious counter. Although I'm surprised he's not going snakes or tier 3. Like, snakes are pretty good at focus firing tier 2s. Ah, they come now. And the boar as well. Okay, so tier 2 and tier 3. Murloc getting his badger up. Now let's see, has anyone scouted? Okay, tanker looks like they're going to come in and scout the badger here. Yep, they see it. And they're already building snakes. Snakes are the counter to badger. A badger needs to stay in on the front lines so it can build up its rev. Because the badger starts with a slow fire rate, but over time it increases while it's in the fight. So badger, you really need to micro, keep it on the front lines so it can constantly be firing, and when it's up at its maximum fire rate, it will just shred through entire armies. Which is why you also want pigeons to keep it alive. Murloc has only got 3 pigeons coming out at the moment. I mean 1 woman's worth of pigeons, not 3 total, which would be 9. It's a bit of a parlance that gets confusing, but luckily you have the numbers on the screen to simplify it. See, now we're getting 3, as in 3 warrens, which is 9. Anyway, but there's 6 snakes, so they put poison on a unit that damages it over time, which means the badger's health is just going to be draining so fast, because it stacks, which means the badger can't stay on the front lines as much as it needs to. It means it dies before it ever reaches its full rev if it does, and if it doesn't, then it's not contributing anything to the fight, and it's a 180 food hole. Actually 360 because you pay for the warren as well. In the meantime, the tanker's got the boar, which does this massive AoE, which will take care of all the squirrels. You can look, see how quickly that badger dies. Like, he tried to get it, Murloc tried to get it back into the pigeons, but hang on, it might have done enough. The tanker's army's low, but he kited really well around that mill. That snake's somehow surviving on 2 HP. Swart was in the gas. Okay, who won that? Well, Murloc technically lost more army, but Tatanka took a massive eco hit. Now, with 4 farms, he can still live. And with the Wolf, these will farm at twice the rate, so there will be essentially 8 farms, but they'll also fallow faster. But I don't think it will matter. I don't know if Murloc can hold against a Wolf-buffed army. He's doing alright, but the Skunks can't hit most of what's on the board. Yeah, Tatanka takes it. If Murloc had been able to hold out for that fight, he would have been fine. Tatanka was all in there. He would not have had the eco to make another attack. Which is quite, I think it was probably a mistake for Murloc to move out. He had the eco advantage. He probably should have played it slow at that point. But easy to say from up here. Alright, so Ocean versus Araloo, Squirrel, Pigeon, Ferret, Falcon, Badger, Wolf against Squirrel, Pigeon, Mole, Skunk, Raccoon, Boar. Now, have these guys just started? I think so. They were having some problems getting the games working. Araloo's computer is notoriously buggy. He's also a really solid player, though. Ocean is a newer player, who's still, like, makes some rookie errors. Araloo used to be, like, he plays a lot less now, but there was definitely a time where he was the best player in the world, maybe second at, like, a push. I just noticed that on my camera. I haven't slid it off all the way. At the moment, I think Tatanka's got the best title, but Araloo, well, we'll have to see if he's got any rust. Ocean starting with Pigeons. Starting with Pigeons is generally not a good idea because Pigeons can't attack, can't defend. They can only heal, and you know you've got nothing to heal at the moment. They also don't really... they can't really heal. See, like, Ocean can't really do anything to prevent this. Araloo's putting this mole right in his face, and what's Ocean going to do? Like, this mole is going to get this tier 2 Warren. It's going to get that tier 1 Warren as well. I wonder if the Pigeon was actually a mistake. Maybe he meant to put Squirrel. This is not a good solution. You can't Warren tank against moles. Yeah. So that's basically GG. Like, Ocean needs to be spamming Squirrels out to have any chance at this point. But he's still going for Falcons. I don't know why he's going Falcon Pigeon. That's not even really a good combo because Falcons don't have a lot of HP. So the Pigeons can't get the most out of them. Like, you don't really want to go Falcons first because they're almost pure DPS. They just get so overwhelmed by tier 1 easily. Because they can only really shoot at one target at a time. And they don't have a lot of HP. Squirrel, pigeon, ferret, falcon, badger, fox. Again, squirrel, pigeon, mole, skunk, raccoon, boar. Araloo sticking with the same deck. That's very Araloo of him. He was famous for basically sticking with the same deck every game, no matter what. Which ideally would leave him to like open to counter picks and stuff, but he was just really, really good at it, and his deck specifically is like made to be an all-rounder deck, so there's no obvious counter to it, or at least none that is so good that it will just auto win. Meanwhile, Ocean missing some tanks and AoE, like skunks or cams. They're good for both of those, but we've got a lot of DPS, some good flexibility. The Badger Fox is a difficult, it is an effective tier 3 combo, but it's quite difficult to get it to work, because both of them are quite micro-intensive units, and you can only micro one at a time. Alright, well, Ocean trying to come in, takes not a great angle on attack. Araloo takes a not great angle to follow. This sort of curve allows the units to get clumped up, which allows one to get more shots off. However, Araloo is definitely winning here. He did get the better end of that fight. Plus, he has his mill up with a farm on it. Whereas, so Ocean is behind on eco. And he's leaving his units out again. This is something that Ocean does repeatedly. He leaves his units out in the open rather than keeping them all together and in his base. I don't know why he does it. I've told him not to. Araloo going for the boar. Makes sense. Boar counters squirrels, and that's all. He's seen. Ocean needs to focus fire so his units are... You want your squirrels to be focus firing, going volley at one unit, kill it, volley at one unit, kill it, volley at one unit, kill it. You don't want like 10 squirrels to put one shot into one squirrel each. While they're focus firing you down, because then you're down to 9 squirrels and they're still at 10. And then they're still at 10, except one isn't even being shot at. And then on the third volley, you finally killed one, but you're down like 6 to 9 at that point. Now, Ocean is actually getting in, just with sheer force of numbers. Manages to get that mill with 2 farms on it, plus a squirrel warren. He needs to collect himself here. Not leave his entire army exposed on the front lines. He might get away with it again. Araloo's micro is not what it used to be. I am seeing some rust here. Losing that raccoon. But he does have the boar. See, Araloo was going for tier 2s. He was putting money into farms. Like the mill and the 2 farms, that's 180 food. There's about 240 in the tier 2 warrens each. Then 360 with the boar. So he was fighting with a massive deficit. But the thing is now, he's got a huge tech advantage. Massive, like, just in raw numbers on the board, he's winning. And the skunk and the boar both hard counter squirrels, which is all Ocean has. So, yeah, that's GG. Don't think Ocean ever scouted this. No, he didn't. That's why scouting is so important. That's going to be GG. Araloo goes through to the next round. Now. Okay, so it's Hylix versus Tanker or me against Araloo. Alright, let's just get on with this then. That one. Oh, that's not a good one. Alright, so Squirrel Mole is a really bad tier 1 opening. I've got no way to counter Mass tier 1. Both of these are single target. Ferrets are just... they're not necessarily low tier, but they are... they have a knack, there's a knack to them that I've never managed to really click with. And Wolf, I mean, it's a good tier 3. It just doesn't really... I can't complain about the Wolf. Wolf fits anywhere. I was going to say it doesn't really synergize with these because you really want Falcons and Chameleons with it. But they just synergize the best with it. It's not like these are bad, although the Wolfer Ferrets isn't really a thing. The extra fire rate still doesn't actually help much because the Ferret fire rate is just so slow. I mean, it's a massive improvement. Actually, you know what? I've not seen Wolf Ferret that often. But I think the shells are still pretty dodgeable. I don't know, maybe we'll try and get that to happen. We're going to have to start with the tier 2, Warren. Could have probably had a mole up here. Let's do a map scout. I always like having the map clear. Oh. Let's get this campfire. Losing that farm is annoying, but not the end of the world. What's really bad is seeing that he's got lizards. Because lizards kind of hard counter everything I've got. There's not really a good place to put up a defensive line either. Just go straight for Wolf. I'm just going to go straight for Wolf. I'm playing kinda... well, I'm sort of being forced to play dumb more than wanting to. I don't have a good answer for what's in his army. So my best bet is probably to just try and turtle up and get the tier 3 out. The problem is, this isn't a good map for turtling because I've got a really wide open base. Yeah. Yeah, that was predictable.
Now.
It's part and parcel of using of always taking random decks though. Oh, that's really not good either. So random decks used to be programmed to always give you either squirrels or lizards, because those are like your basic like backbone of an army type tier 1 units. It's difficult to do anything these days without squirrels, because they're just such a fundamental building block. You can get away with lizard only, but it's definitely harder. Not having either is a nightmare. Now I do have Owl, and Skunk Falcon is a classic tier 2 combination for a reason. So honestly, apart from the lack of, if I had like Squirrel instead of mine, or well, realistically Drumfire Cannon, but I do like the cannon, so I'm not going to be too mad at it, then this deck would be perfectly fine. This is a pointless mine. I've already sold it. Yeah, he can't get in around here. Okay, this is a quite greedy opening, but I feel like I've kind of got to do it. Okay, well this is gonna suck. Right, that I killed. I spent all my army to kill half of a tier 2. Well, those were bad games. I probably needed to go Falcon super early, like get it out, like sacrifice going 8 farms immediately just to get a Falcon out. But it's just, those decks were terrible. They had no early game. Now we're looking for Hylix into Tanker. We got a Hylix. I enjoyed taking random decks, but that was... oh, hey, QQ. Yeah, that was a good example of... Sometimes it bites you. That's, you know, in the nature of randomness. Yeah, not bad. Been playing a lot of Silk Song, so that's been fun. Distracting me from my continual favour to find steady employment. My shoulder's still injured, which is also not great. How's Silk Song? Yeah, pretty difficult. Very difficult. I'm having a better time easier time than most of it, because I went through Hollow Knight a lot. I had like a couple of 100 hours on it, but still, it's taken me something like just under 70 hours to get through Hollow Silk Song. No, exactly 70 hours, according to Steam. I think the in-game timer is a bit lower. What do you mean Tatanka? Apparently Tatanka is just pissed off. He said he had to go for a while. Okay, so I guess Hylix takes the dub then. $70. I got the true ending earlier today. I literally streamed it like an hour before I started this. And there's still like another 2 endings to get. I'm at something like 96% completion, I think. Okay, so I lost 2-0 on my first game, and I'm getting third in this PBC, which is already at the end because the tanker's just left in the middle. He was probably maybe he was expecting Aralu and I to spend a lot longer at it, but unfortunately I lucked into 2 decks that had no early game, so I just got rushed down immediately. Yeah, I always go random Aralu. That's why I ended up with, in my first game I had Pigeon Mole as my tier 1s, and in the second I just had Toad. No, I'm not trying to force anyone else to do it, it's just what I like to do, it's how I have fun. But I've played this game a lot. I've got 2,427.5 hours currently. I don't know, I just get bored playing the same deck over and over again. I could have just, I don't know, I could just pick a different deck like I do sometimes. And eventually I'll get back to that point. But I'm just enjoying, I just like doing randoms. Even if I'm playing a fighting game or something. Like when I played Melee or Brawl or Ultimate, I would be like, just gonna pick random for a few games. I enjoy RNG. Okay, so now I think you're supposed to be fighting Aralu. Like, because we're already at the finals, so you need to get in the lobby. Like I'm not, well, reset there. Have you like reset the game, but have you logged back into Steam? This is awkward. Okay, we'll remake the lobby. I'll remake. See if that works. Okay, this seems to have worked. Or not. Same problem, Arulu? Can remake it again? I don't really... There's not really much more I can do on my end. Other than do it again. Any better? Still nothing, Araloo? We see you in the lobby. But I'm guessing you'd be readied up if you could. What if you try making the lobby? At this point, I probably could have waited for it to tanker. Are you getting any? Okay, let's see if we can join Hylixes. Yeah, okay, so it works fine for me. Hey, Stretch. We're having some problems getting the finals going. Oh well, Araloo is. Head's fine. Shoulder's not great. I tore my rotator cuff a year or so back. And the last couple of months, something happened with it where it's just, you know, in constant pain, like a tendon's been torn or a nerve has been trapped or something. And unfortunately, I've got to wait another couple of weeks before GP can actually meet me. At which point they'll send me to a specialist, but that'll take probably another couple of weeks or a month. So in the meantime, I've just got to tank the pain. Yeah. So we're doing a full restart. Separatist exterminationary. Well, I don't know, that's a ominous name, but you're definitely getting banned for being a bot spammer anyway. That's the bad sign. I don't think Aralu's... I don't know what's going on with Aralu's PC, but it does seem to be working. Which means this is going to be one of the worst VODs ever. Because I cast one game... Like, I cast one actual game of, you know, Murloc versus the tanker. Then we see Aralu, like, crush Ocean in about 2 minutes. Aralu crushed me in about 2 minutes. And then we had, what, like, 30, 40 minutes of just waiting for the tanker and trying to get Aralu to actually be able to fight. I don't think I'll upload this VOD to YouTube, to be honest. I think this is the new winner of the worst PBC award. This is hardly a great advertisement for the game. Advertisement. Could be worse. I mean, everything could be worse. Could be wasted. I don't know what you mean. Like, do you mean drunk? I would take being drunk right now. I haven't had a proper drink in a while. Okay. One more time. Yeah, unfortunately I don't have the money to really drink as much as I used to. Or like, you know. Plus then I was starting to lose or then I had work on Tuesdays. Or stuff to do in the morning. I can't remember the last time I did a proper drunk stream. Plus, you know, you also just got fewer people turning up to them. Okay, I'm going to reset the game entirely. See if me resetting the game sometimes somehow helps him. Somehow my viewer count is going up while all of this is happening, which is awkward. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to get a final. We tried Avalon making the lobby. It didn't work. He couldn't. Yeah, I don't know if this is going to happen. When I don't know, you'd have to ask Eel, I guess, or Andy. You could probably track him down. Aralu, can you give us an update on? Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure these like this mod was supposed to be made an official patch at some point. But it kind of, I mean, I guess it kind of doesn't need to happen since everyone in the community is just using it anyway. Hey Mia. Alright, I guess. We're hoping to see if we can actually get this final game going. One of our participants is trying something, in their own words. Don't know what. UK, Birmingham. Yeah. Howdy. Nice to meet you too. Do I stream daily? No. I mean, I have been I've been streaming pretty regularly while I've been playing Silk Song. But I'm probably not going to keep that up since I just finished the game. I'll probably stream until I get 100%. But that'll probably be like maybe one, maybe two more streams. I stream every Monday when we do the PBC, which is this tournament that is currently failing to work. Streaming is just a hobby. If you're going to try and sell me some art, I'm just going to tell you now, I can't afford it. And it's not worth me investing in it, even if I could. Yeah, so I stream every Monday with this. Probably gonna try and stream more come the new year. I might actually try and, if nothing else is working out, I might actually just try and commit to this. Actually start editing videos. Can't be that hard. I don't know what I make them on. Like, I could put out one. I could edit the PBC every week, but we get problems like this where, I mean, some weeks we don't even get people turning up for it, so that would be not great. Maybe do a video essay or two. Just spurg out on a topic for a while. Which reminds me, I'm supposed to be doing a presentation for tomorrow. I haven't prepared anything. I'll probably end up doing it on Silk Song, just because that's been my latest obsession. Let's see what's going on here. He says something. Squirrel, pigeon, falcon, cam. Wolf, machine gunning it, squirrel, toad, pigeon, skunk, raccoon, wolf. And Aralu says he just got it to work. Oh, noun verb is you, Stretch. I probably knew that at some point. So I guess you don't mind, yeah, if we have a little forfeit. Guess I'll be the... I'm just going to take a quick leak while we see if this works. I saw Araloo readied up on my phone. That looks ready. Okay, it's promising. Hey! Started without me. Alright. Well, after all this better be a bloody good finale. Alright, so we got Squirrel, Lizard, Crow, Ferret, Snake, Wolf and Araloo mixing up his deck, which is very unusual for him. Against Squirrel, Toad, Pigeon, Skunk, Raccoon, Mine from Hylix. Oh. Now, how is this gonna work? Both players just going up to 8 farms. Map wise, oh, instant mill from Araloo. That will probably prompt Hylix to do the same. Little scouting mine there. Okay, into lizards. Straight into the lizards. Lizards, I mean, there's really only one way to attack, which isn't great for them, but they're still lizards. You can't underestimate them. Okay, so nothing too fancy at the moment. Looking at the map, it looks like well, Hylix Mills are a bit less defendable, being right out in the open with like infinite, an infinite border, the entire map as a front line, but he does have 4, whereas yes, Araloo technically has this mill, but it's much harder for him to actually claim and hold. There's no way he can hold both this one and this one, whereas it's much easier for Hylix. If he just holds out around here, he can basically hold all of these. This one's a bit further off, but the campfire is going to give him plenty of warning if Araloo runs some lizards around there. Okay. Oh, got something caught in my throat. Hylick's thinking about attacking, not committing to it. Honestly, I think he could have done it. It's a bit awkward terrain. The sheer mass of crows that Aralu's getting, though, is going to make this hard. Like, crows are a weird unit. They scale really well, even though they're tier 1. So a massive flock of them like this is very hard to deal with. It means Hylix's toads and skunks are basically useless. The toads, I mean, he's still got a lot of toads, and they basically completely neutralise the lizards, so I think he's fine keeping them. He's making the right choice by selling the skunk, though. I do wonder if he's going to be able to hold this with his considerably smaller squirrel army. Like, he invested heavily into economy while Aralu was right outside his front door. Well, he's taken some losses, but he didn't die. Problem with fighting mass crows is that there's no AoE, like, aerial option. Nothing that does, like, a lot of damage to little units can hit the air. So it's quite hard to deal with a large falcon flock. Sorry, large crow flock. And, yeah, you can't. And now, this is devastating damage, knocking him into, well, basically completely neutralising this mill. And there's only like a couple hundred food left on this one. Yeah, Hylix is dead. It's a matter of whether or not they've realised it yet. Yeah, there we go. Final assault. I don't know why Hylix hasn't just surrendered at this point. Nobody leave. I don't want to have to spend another 40 minutes trying to get Aralu into the lobby. No, Aralu, what are you doing? What? Hello? Where's Hylix going? Ah! This is the worst! Okay, we're back. Oh, Aralu is randoming. That makes sense. Okay, well, he got some pretty decent roll RNG last game. This one doesn't seem as good with the Squirrel Mole opening and the Badger Fox Artillery ending. How is he going to make this work? I think you have to go Falcon early. I think it's something like you go tier 6, you go like 6 or 7 farm Falcon, get your 8 farms up, and then you go into an artillery cannon. And then you go into Fox, and then you try and pick off enough value with the Fox that you can get up to Badger and Pigeons, or at least a high number of falcons. But this is not a great map for Araloo to do this, because he hasn't got an easy expansion. This one is like close to him, but it's also closest to Hylix's expansion. Hylix having the high ground here isn't as advantageous as it might appear. Araloo with his falcons can just do some cliff harass when it. You don't, if you're on a high ground mill like this, you don't want the farms pressed right up against the cliff. For reasons that are difficult to explain, but basically come down to the way the units path and shoot. Means that you basically end up at a disadvantage for being on the high ground. And it means that you can't like move your army in front of your pigs, you have to keep them with them, which sometimes is alright, but it means your pigs are right in the fire, right in the fight. And yeah, Hylix could definitely put some damage on this mill. Oh, there's this path straight down. I mean, it's awkward. I mean, that's the way of putting it. This is just an awkward setup. Honestly, Araloo would probably be better off just taking this mill as a safe one, or this one. Like, it's hard for him to defend these without tier 1. Normally, this would be like a perfectly reasonable mill, but without having tier 1 and having to, you know, be more turtley, at least the way I'm saying you should play, you know, that's less good. But, you know, he's taking this mill. Honestly, this might be smart. He might actually have the advantage here because he's got all these falcons. So he can just harass this mill very effectively and force Hylix off it. He could even just build an artillery cannon, like down here, and he'll have the high ground vision to shoot it. Problem is, it's mass falcons against mass squirrel, and mass squirrel just tends to outproduce it. So Hylix coming around, coming in. Yeah, this mill is not going to stay up. And Araloo is just getting further and further behind on eco. Hylix up to 10 farms, going up to 12. Like, falcons are a really good unit, but they can't be the bulk of your army. You need some, like, you need some fodder. So the falcons can get their shots off. Now I'll have to see if Hylix knows about this artillery cannon. He's not doing anything to stop it. If this goes up, I don't know if it can reach the mill. It can definitely reach a lot of the army. And this is not a good place to attack. This narrow choke is going to force everything into single file. Okay, Hylix is coming in, but he might have left it too late. But he's inside the arty range. Oh, but that army just gets cleared up. Let's see what this arty does. It definitely hits the machine gun. It cannot hit the mill, but it can hit anything that comes to defend the mill. Oh, it can hit the mill. Can it? It can hit the pig. It can hit the mill. And it looks like Araloo is making this work. And this is the fun of playing random decks, in case anyone was wondering why I did it. It's just fun to try and make stuff work. And you get to try a lot of strategies. It forces you to do unconventional stuff. Because normally you would never like go open into Falcon, into Arty Cannon, and then try and proxy mill your opponent. It just... I mean, part of this is a weird setup of the map, putting two mills so close together. Is Amalu selling the RT? He does, but yeah, but that's why random is cool. Okay, so this entire time, Hylix was trying to get up his own tier 3. He's got the wolf in the background. Which, honestly, if he could just take a fight with his squirrels, I don't know if... I mean, that is a lot of moles, to be fair. Aralu's just got 18 moles just for tanking purposes. In fact, he's just got so much more army now that he's probably just overwhelming. Yeah. Look at how quickly all these warrens go down. Moles aren't really like a conventional attack unit, but... When did Hylix put this down? I completely missed that. Okay, well, you can put as many machine guns down as you want here. They're not going to do anything against the moles. And even if they could, Hylix, Amalu can just take every extra mill and every extra farm. Yeah. Okay, that's game 2 to Aralu. Making the awkward deck work on an awkward map. Game 3. I didn't see whether Avalu picked random again, but this is still an unusual deck, for him at least. And it's got... So Squirrel Lizard, solid combo. Nothing odd about that. The Badger Fox, slightly more offbeat, but it's definitely seen some play. It's fallen out of favour, I think. I think Melvin was really the only one who, you know, super nailed it. I think Tatanka's used it a few times. I think Tatanka can do it, but he doesn't seem to like it. I think Sasha was the same. I've run it a few times, but it's tricky. The Artie is an off-meta pick. I love it, but it's just not actually that good for how much it asks of you. It's like just barely not good enough, which means that sometimes you just want to try it anyway, and sometimes it ends up being good enough because you're in a good situation or something, but it's not consistent. And it's because it's a very expensive unit that's surprisingly fragile. It's like quite a big risk for not a lot of reward. But yeah, I've talked about Badger Fox. It's quite micro intensive, but it does work. The Fox and the Badger can cover each other's weaknesses quite well, and it puts out a huge amount of damage. Badger has the best sustained damage in the game. Fox has the best single target damage in the game. Badger can clear through waves and waves of tier 1, or, you know, most tier 3s. Fox can shoot down any of the high value tier 2s that are good at focus firing the Badger. It works. Hylix with Squirrel, Pigeon, Skunk Cam, Badger Balloon. Again, nothing too fancy, all solid all-rounders. The Skunk Cam means he's going to be very effective against any sort of tier 1 spam. They're both really good at dealing with clumps of tier 1, and they're both good at it in different enough ways that they synergize rather than making each other redundant. But what's really interesting is this that Hylix hasn't seen yet, the arty creep on the ninja mill. I did notice it, don't think I didn't. I was just waiting for a good opportunity to bring it up, and I think that opportunity is just as this second proxy mill comes up and Hylix sees what's going on. Now, is this actually going to work? I don't know. That arty isn't close enough to cover Araloo's actual attack. Hylix this entire time is getting a badger out that Araloo, I don't think Araloo hasn't scouted. And the badger, because the badger can fire while moving, it can very easily deal with the artillery, because it can damage the artillery while the artillery can't damage it. And it's getting its DPS up the entire time. So Hylix is actually probably enjoying seeing this, because it means his badger is just gonna basically solo this. I mean, he's got the cams for the lizards, which would be able to gun him down. Oh, but he's gone in too early. The lizards catch everything out because the cams were dead by the RT. Okay, but the badger comes out in time that Araloo is forced to retreat. Now, Araloo does have a second mill which she can put actual farms on, because these are more just for territory. And he's doing good work, like hitting at multiple angles with the lizards. Oh, doesn't quite get that second mill. Maybe would have been worth staying in, but he moves out early so the badger can't get some rev up. He is having a slightly awkward reinforcement path where a lot of his units are trying to run in through here. Okay, so a lot of tier 1 for Araloo, which is why it would have been so good if he sniped both of these chameleon warrens, because that is Hylix's answer to all of this tier 1 is the cams. Now, it looks like Araloo's really exposed over here, where his actual eco is, but he's not. If Hylix moves any of his army up here, Araloo can instantly dart in and just wipe these out. Like, okay, Hylix is going to try it. He's moving his cams out. Now, that means that Araloo's not going to know about the attack until, you know, it's already over. But it does mean that there's nothing here to deal with all these tier 1. So, if I were Araloo, I'd seriously consider just turning around and taking this fight. He doesn't, though. There was only one farm on there, so it's not like a huge pickup, but he's now going to start collecting warrens. Is Araloo going to bring his army back? He is. Is he going to get anything out of this? Because the cams just retreat. Hylix even sells the mill. Araloo can put down... Well, Araloo could put down more lizard warrens over here, but he's trying to build his own badger. Plus, he's down to one farm because he just never really had any economy. Whereas Hylix has just been steadily building up this mill, just patiently sitting on it. Araloo actually selling down over here, which is risky, but I think it's probably the right move. If Hylix moves in now, then he gets him, but honestly, if Hylix is just allowed to sit on his 8 farms while Araloo's on 1, Araloo loses anyway, so he has to take this risk. He was trying to get the commander death because that delays Hylic by like a further 10-20 seconds. I think it's 10 seconds for the commander to respawn. And what Araloo needs most now is time. Have a weird badger off where neither player can really do anything. You gotta play really careful with this. This balloon is actually going to help a lot. First of all, it's giving Hylics massive amounts of vision on the high ground as well. And because balloons do single target sniping, like, they're quite good at dealing with high priority tanky units like the Badger. Okay, Araloo trying to get up his artillery again. I don't know if Hylics will attack on this. It might be a bait. But honestly, I think Hylics has the army where he could just take it. And it looks like Hylics thinks that as well. Yeah. Araloo should probably take this campfire, this cabin, just for the extra eco. I mean, this has been going on long enough that Hylics' farms here are actually starting to fallow, but he's got 2 other mills, nice and safe. He's got this one he can take. He's got this campfire on the back if he wants to. He's building a second Badger. So is Araloo, though. And Araloo does have this mill that he can take if he can't expand safely to this one. I think Araloo could have maybe got that mill, that arty up, if he put it a bit farther back. He probably, if he wants to arty creep, he probably has to do it more conservatively. Honestly, if I was Araloo here, I'd be thinking about building a fox. There we go. See? Because, I mean, foxes are quite good at killing badgers. Badger struggles against anything that deals a lot of single target damage. And, you know, the fox does a lot of single target damage. Now, oh, that was just this empty milk going down, doesn't matter. Now, the problem is actually focus firing with the fox through the 12 squirrels and 9 pigeons. But because the Badger tends to be, you know, towards the front of the army, just so it can get its rev up, that, you know, is not always too hard. Araloo has no army, though. And Hylics does. If Hylics was to wait an extra, like, 15 seconds, Araloo would be in a much better position. But 2 Badgers against 1 Badger is, you know, a pretty easy calculation. Honestly, I'm a bit annoyed Hylics. I mean, he attacked at the right time. Hylics played that well. He weathered the assault. Played defensively when he had to. Was patient. And then attacked at the right time. But I am annoyed that Araloo's fun in unconventional strategy didn't work. And especially because, honestly, Araloo, that fight looked really one-sided, and it was, because Araloo was constantly basically going all in. Like, he'd sold all his army, so he could tech entirely into tier 3. And it was so close to paying off. If he'd had that second Badger out, when the attack happened, I think he would have been able to hold. He would have taken some damage. But because, you know, 2 Badgers pray for 2 Badgers, but at the same time you got the RT just constantly pouring on fire. So the mill, I don't think would have gone down. Some farms would have been lost. And if the fox, well, I would have liked to see how it would have developed. Anyway, so Araloo with, now I don't think this was a random deck. This looks odd, but this is a deck that I have definitely seen people pick. Pigeon, Snake, owl, wire machine gun, arty. So the idea is that eventually, if you get enough owls, you will win the game no matter what. The owl produces free value, and free value over enough time equals infinite. And so the entire thing is based around you go really defensive with the wire and machine gun in the early game to just turtle up essentially. And then you use the pigeons to keep the owl alive, and you use a snake to snipe down your opponent's badgers, which are the hardest answer to owls. Like, badgers counter owls so well. They're also to deal with ferrets, because they can siege down your machine guns and artillery and stuff. Now, enough badgers will eventually lose the owl, but you need to start getting into like double figures. Okay, this is a risky arty. Hylix does kill it, but at the cost of a lot of tier 1. Still, 180 food, 20 food for each. That's 9 tier 1 worth of value. I don't think that Artie got 9 tier 1s. Okay, so yeah. Talking about Hylix, he's got honestly not a bad setup against mass owls, because he's got the Falcon Skunk. Falcons can't be hit. Well, okay, so starting from the beginning, squirrels, just solid all-around unit. Plus, they're ranged and cheap, while they're not as cheap as free mice, but they are cheap, so you can, you know, tank a lot of losses with them. And they are at range, so they will get a volley or two off on the mice, which is important. Falcons can't be hit by the mice at all, and can gun down owls quickly if they get any focus fire. Skunks, great AoE unit, and a ranged AoE unit as opposed to chameleon, so they can stay away. They can hit the mice without taking damage, even though the mice have swift, so they go through the gas very quickly. Boar, tanky AoE, can roast dozens and dozens of mice, but will eventually get overwhelmed, as all things do. Fox, terrible against owls, completely overwhelmed by the mice, can't outrun them, and but does do a lot of single target damage if it can actually hit the owls. And balloons, they basically snipe one mouse at a time. But again, they can't be hit by the mice, and the real value in them is if you get up enough of them, they'll just snipe the commander and leave your opponent's army just floating in front of yours with no ability to retreat or micro. Anyway, while I was doing that, Hylix just walked in with a bunch of mice and overwhelmed the defenses. For some reason, despite seeing 2 owl warrens, he hasn't destroyed the second one. Is this second owl going to get up? And is it going to escape? Because if it does, this game isn't over. It's getting there. It's away. Okay. Now, Aralu still has a problem. He has no way to deal with these falcons. But 2 owls is a pretty solid starting point, even with 4 farms. Because owls give you free units, you can get away with having a much lower eco. Now, the question is, he does want to be trying to whittle down his opponent, rather than letting Hylix just build up. Because here, even though these mice get dealt with, that's still 7 squirrels, so that's 140 food Hylix has lost, whereas Aralu has lost nothing. And so, obviously, enough 140s, you know, you eventually turn turn it around. He's coming in again. Araloo is trying to build up a big block of machine guns to deal with his falcons, but I think Hylix is smart enough to know he can just walk around. Which means I think we're going into a base race. And... Okay, Hylix is sniping the pigs first. Is this mill going to get up in time? No, it's not. Honestly, if that mill had been up in time, maybe. Mice cut through, like, do a lot of damage. So they can cut through a mill pretty quickly. But the problem is you can't focus fire with the mice. You can only focus fire the owls. I mean, you can't micro the mice. So you can't tell them to focus on a target. You can micro the owls, but they can't do direct damage. The mice obey their own AI, which means you set them in an opponent's base. You can't tell them focus on the mill. They're going to run off to attack farms or warrens or whatever. Anyway, Araloo going with a random again. Squirrel, Falcon, Badger, Wire Balloon, Arty. So a similar loadout to last game. Honestly, very similar. But still the same weakness of just... What do you do when your opponent just walks in at 5 minutes with 24 squirrels? It bears mentioning that last map was also, like... It didn't favour Araloo. They started quite close together, and he had no real defensive position to take advantage of. Especially because Hylix expanded first to claim more territory. And territory that was going towards Araloo. If Araloo had managed to keep that Arty alive last game, it could have been completely different, because that would have given him some, like, a solid anchor to build around, because that could have dealt with a lot of the squirrels. But yeah, balloons, they can shoot falcons. They're much better at dealing with them. I think a balloon one-shots a falcon. So it's going to be harder. Plus, Araloo's got his own falcons. I'm confused. I guess he random. Did he random into a deck that just happens to be like the one he played last game, or did it just not show him selecting it? But if he was choosing, I would be surprised. I'm surprised that he didn't just pick squirrels instead of falcons. Just to have some consistent... Because squirrels are consistently good up into, like, all the way through the mid-game. And even in the late game, they don't really fall off. You still are going to want some squirrels in your army. You would be amazed what a blob of squirrels can get done in this game. Okay, so what they can definitely do is handle 2 falcons. Like, Araloo does not want to be pushing with this army against that army. There's the Arty. They're honestly a bit slow with it. But with this wire setup, I don't think Araloo is under too much danger. I mean, honestly, Hylix might be able to just push through it. Wire does a lot of damage, though. I think the Falcons would be able to handle what was left. Okay. Araloo's selling the wire. I mean, it's good timing. His opponent's just gone in with a scout. So Araloo, again, he's got an awkward position to defend. Because he's got, like... You want a narrow choke point to defend, obviously. Because then one defensive structure can cover everything. with this like wide front line that curves around, Aralu can't really cover everything. But if he can get up enough of an army that he can threaten to attack if Hylix moves, then he only needs to cover, you know, this bit where Hylix has to keep his army focused in the defensive position. So this campfire is a bit too exposed, I think, for those falcons. It would be nice to have, but I think Aralu needs to get his balloon and arty stuff further up first. Honestly, I would probably sell the pigeons, at least one of the warrens, just to get more balloons, because the balloons have great range. They'd snipe the falcons, and then you could build this. Another problem Aralu's got, okay, he has scouted to the tier 3. I'd wondered if he has. I was about to say, he's not going to be able to get good scouting if he's turtling up. But no, he's fine. I didn't see him ever leave, but he must have. Although he is behind on eco quite substantially. And I wonder what he's planning. Another arty? This doesn't feel like the right place to put an arty. Like, surely you want to put it here. No, hang on. Over here with the wire and the campfire, so you can be aggressive with it. Because this arty is now... he's only useful if Hylix walks all the way around and comes in from the top. Well, I guess this is where he has to attack if he wants to get these mills. But still, I feel like you'd want to be moving farther out with them to take more... you want to be creeping. Instead, he's selling his farther forward one. He's retreating. I mean, his next mills are all up here. So it feels like you want to be, like, building up on this so you can secure... you can cut off this, and that way forces your opponent to come all the way up here. Which, to be fair, he could easily do with the wolf, so maybe it's a moot point. Now, I don't know how well this Badger's going to do against Hylix's army. I said the Badger struggles a lot against single target. Like, it struggles against armies that can gun it down before it builds up its attack speed. And a large falcon flock is a classic answer to a Badger, especially with the wolf, because the falcons start at the max fire rate. They don't have to build up to it. They have to reload, and they can't fire while moving. But if their first volley goes into the Badger can't just stay on the front lines. It has to either die or retreat into the pigeons to heal, at which point it probably loses its rev. Yeah. I don't know if Aralu is going to be able to pull this off. He just doesn't have the territory for it. I mean, he's managed to sneak out this ninja mill, which Hylix hasn't scouted. Sorry, my controller of the camera is all over the place tonight. Now, see, this is where you want the arty, because now it can actually hit this. It looks like we're going into a base race. Alright, it looks like Hylix wants to attack. Okay, Aralu has brought his army back. A balloon gets sniped down. Wolf buffed falcons and chameleons are really hard to deal with. They just deal so much damage so quickly that, honestly, I think Hylix could just attack all. I mean, look at how quickly that is. That does damage. Like, just there, pause in. Clearing up warrens. These defences now are so far forward they can't really defend this back line. Aralu is behind on economy. Not as behind as Hylix thinks he is, but still behind. Unlike the pace of these fights with the wolf is just so quick that the badger doesn't have time to actually contribute. And because Aralu's army, the falcons and the pigeons have very low HP, so there's nothing to tank for the badger either. Now, he is picking up a lot of value on these reinforcements. But he's lost so many warrens. And if Hylix ever does scout this mill, then, you know, he's in a lot of trouble. Aralu trying to dart in and out, pick up some value, but his army, his badger doesn't move as fast as the wolf buffed army does. It does not get back in time. Powers all of these, but he's lured all of the army into these balloons, which gun down everything. And now Aralu can just snowball, perhaps. He needs to gun down the warrens. Gun down the warrens. Gun down the warrens. Yes, that's right. No, you're leaving it alive. He needs to kill all the warrens before they get a chance to spawn units. But he's not for some reason. Ah, because he has to go defend his mill. Oh, because that is his last mill on the map. Oh, I didn't realise that. Oh, that's awkward. Hey, Lucas, you arrived just in time to see Hylix win. Good contest, though. Worth the wait. Well, maybe not, but still. Got to see some weird stuff from Aralu. He nearly made it work. If only he'd had another mill up. I thought he still had that campfire. But no, it probably went down in that, you know, big attack. So yeah, he did need to chase down the army. Maybe. It wasn't a bad choice, because I was thinking you need to kill those warrens before they rebuild, because, you know, you can't. But you probably did. Yeah, it turns out you did need to chase him down. But I think if you had chased him down, all those warrens would have come up and you would have died anyway. So I don't know. Because, you know, you couldn't defend that mill once he'd found it. He hadn't found it before he moved in. Maybe he just deduced that it was there and he knew to go back. A lot of your structures weren't contributing, and I don't think you really needed to lose your badger. I think you sent it out too far for a squirrel warren, but that's easy to say from here. But it was nice. It was a cool game. And I'm ashamed it didn't get to work out. But alright. That is probably it. I thought you had the campfire. I didn't see it go down, but there was a lot of stuff to pay attention to in that fight. With the badger dying and then the balloons just destroying everything. Once I saw the badger died, I thought that was GG. And then the 6 balloons just absolutely gunned down Hylix's entire army. Anyway, well, it's been a fun stream, despite all the technical issues. But I need to get a snack and go to bed. I will see you guys presumably sometime in the week if you want to come in. Like I said, I'm going to be finishing off Silk Song, but then I might go back to streaming this more regularly because I do want to be streaming more. But at the very least, I'll be back next Monday for another PBC. Yeah, alright. Peace out. Thanks for coming. Good night. Toodles.